For centuries, Tartessos existed on the edge of history, not as a myth, not as a legend, but as a real civilization mentioned, described, and traded with, yet never fully found. Ancient writers spoke of it with certainty. They described its wealth, its rivers, its kings, and its influence. And then, without warning, Tartessos vanished. This is the story of a lost civilization discovered too late to be understood in full. The earliest references to Tartessus come from Greek sources, dating back to the first millennium BCE. Herodotus described it as a rich land in the far west, beyond the Pillars of Hercules, a place abundant in silver, tin, and gold, a civilization that traded openly with the Mediterranean world. To the Greeks, Tartessos was not imaginary. It was a known trading partner. Geographically, Tartessos is believed to have existed in what is now southern Spain, near the mouth of the Guadalquivir River. This region was uniquely positioned. Fertile plains, navigable rivers, direct access to the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. From a scientific perspective, it was an ideal location for the emergence of a complex society. Archaeological evidence suggests that Tartessus flourished between roughly 1200 and 500 BCE. During this period, the region shows signs of advanced metallurgy, long-distance trade, and social stratification. Silver extraction in particular reached an industrial scale. Slag heaps found in the area indicate large-scale metal processing far beyond local consumption. This was an export economy. Tartessian wealth attracted attention. Phoenician traders established colonies along the coast, including Gadir, modern Cadiz. Through these contacts, Tartessos entered a wider economic system. Objects of Eastern Mediterranean origin ceramics, jewelry, religious symbols appear in Tartessian contexts. This was not isolation. This was integration. Ancient texts describe Tartessos as a monarchy. A ruler named Argentonios is mentioned as reigning for an extraordinary length of time. Whether this was literal or symbolic remains debated, but the implication is clear. Tartessos was politically organized, stable, and powerful enough to be remembered by foreign historians. Yet here lies the central mystery. Despite written references, despite archaeological traces, the core of Tartessos remains missing. No confirmed capital city, no royal palace, no definitive inscriptions in a clearly deciphered Tartessian language. For a civilization of such influence, the silence is striking. From a scientific standpoint, this absence raises critical questions. Was Tartessos destroyed suddenly? Did it decline gradually? Or was it absorbed into neighboring cultures? Evidence suggests the answer may be complex. Around the 6th century BCE, Tartessos disappears from historical records. Greek references stop. Trade patterns shift. Archaeological layers change. Settlements show disruption, but not necessarily violence. One leading hypothesis involves economic collapse. Tartessos was deeply tied to metal trade. When Phoenician dominance weakened and new powers rose, trade routes changed. A system built on export wealth may not have survived the disruption. Economic dependency can be fatal to complex societies. Another hypothesis focuses on environmental change. The Guadalquivir Delta has shifted significantly over time. Flooding, silting, and changes in river courses could have made key settlements uninhabitable. From a geological perspective, coastal civilizations are vulnerable. Cities can disappear beneath sediment without traumatic destruction. There is also evidence of cultural transformation. After Tartessos fades, new Iberian cultures emerge in the same region. Pottery styles change. Burial practices shift. Political organization evolves. This suggests not extinction but assimilation. A civilization that did not die violently, but lost its identity. From a scientific view, this may explain why Tartessos feels lost. Its people may have survived. Its name did not. Modern archaeology arrived too late to capture Tartessos intact. By the time systematic excavations began, centuries of Roman, medieval, and modern development had altered the landscape. Potential urban centers were built over. Artifacts were looted or destroyed. Contexts were lost. Data was fragmented before it could be analyzed. This is the tragedy of Tartessos. Not that it vanished, but that it vanished before archaeology existed. Today, what we reconstruct comes from partial evidence. Metallurgical remains, imported goods, settlement patterns, ancient texts written by outsiders. There is no Tartessian voice telling its own story. From a scientific perspective, Tartessos challenges how we define civilizations. It was wealthy, but left few monuments. Powerful, but lightly centralized. Connected yet culturally distinct. It does not fit the classical model shaped by Rome and Greece. And that may be why it was forgotten. History favors stone, inscriptions, and conquest. Tartessos favored trade, geography, and adaptation. Those leave softer traces. What remains is a civilization suspended between fact and absence. Real, yet incomplete. Documented, yet silent. A reminder that history is not only what survives, but what we manage to recognize in time. Tartessos was not a failure. It functioned for centuries. It influenced the Mediterranean world. It mastered resources and trade. What failed was preservation. Discovered too late to fully understand. Too fragmented to reconstruct completely. Yet not erased. Because every piece of silver slag, every Phoenician artifact, every ancient reference is a signal. A signal that something complex once existed here. Tartessos teaches us that civilizations do not need to collapse violently to disappear. They only need to change and be forgotten. And as archaeology continues, one truth becomes clear. There are still chapters of human history missing. Not because they never existed, but because we arrived too late to hear them speak. If we listen carefully, through science rather than myth, through evidence rather than legend, Tartessos still whispers. And in those whispers, we are reminded that history is always incomplete.